This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, June 3rd, but the year was 1539. Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto claims Florida, now owned by Spain. The year was 1871. Jesse James and his gang robs the Obachok Bank in Iowa, stealing $15,000. It was on this day, 1888, that the poem Casey at the Bat is published. It was on this day, 1925, the Goodyear blimp, the Pilgrim, makes its first flight. It was this year, 1959, that the U.S. Air Force Academy graduates its first class. It was on this day, 1968, when American radical feminist Valerie Solanas attempts to assassinate Andy Warhol by shooting him 3 times. It was on this day, 1981, that Pope John Paul II is released from the hospital after an assassination attempt. It was on this day, 1989, the beginning of the Tiananmen Square massacre, as Chinese troops opened fire on pro-democracy supporters in Beijing, China. But that was June the 3rd in the past. This is June the 3rd, 2020, as protests sweep across the nation following the death of George Floyd. Some of the most iconic monuments in Washington, D.C. were vandalized. You can see photos of the vandalizing of the Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, one of the oldest historic churches, St. John's Church, where every president since Madison has worshiped. Gun sales surged in May as shops report a tremendous increase in demand. Small Arms Analytics and Forecasting, a private research firm, estimates there are more than 1.7 million gun sales just in the month of May, an 80% jump from 1 year ago in May. It's been unprecedented. And what can we expect cities to be like after the virus? Right now, there are empty city streets. That's the norm. In April, a research suggests that 50% of the U.S. labor force is working from home in the United States and in Canada. Today and in the future, some companies will barely exist anywhere in a building, but instead float overhead in the cloud. Facebook expects to have half of its staff working from home within a few years and has signaled its intention to index pay to the local cost of living, meaning a pay cut if you leave the expensive city. And while all this is happening on Earth, 253 miles above the Earth, having arrived by the SpaceX launch, astronauts are orbiting the Earth at 17,000 miles an hour, orbiting the Earth once a day. Some analysts believe that SpaceX will go public within 2 to 3 years. And so this is a day of good news, bad news, confusing news. Behind it all is the truth that this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is Ken Smith reminding you it happened today, June 3rd, 2020.